Hi, everyone. You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Jane Monreal with this special edition of your weather impact alert coverage, an extended version now of what we've been doing here for the past, several hours. Meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees now in the Live Impact studio. All right, Brittany, you and me, we're going to just, bring this to the end here.
Well, technically, Jeb, our sweet producer, is sitting right next to me. Jane, we did our first hit at 3. So,
yeah, that's what I mean. You guys have been here forever.
So it's been quite a journey.
Might as well just round it up.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey. And I do want to remind people that this is not the worst of what we're going to see. We're going to see more areas of freezing rain and freezing drizzle overnight and into most of the day tomorrow. Tomorrow's high temperature, Brad and I actually adjusted a little bit colder, is only 30 degrees. So we are not going to get out of the freezing mark at all on Sunday. And then temperatures Monday barely get out of the freezing mark, but at least we will see some sunshine return. Let's talk about what's happening right now. I have some live cameras I want to show you first because Kannapolis has really been showing it. I think this is kind of a summary of what we're starting to see in some of these areas. You can see completely iced over. Brad, you were talking to Mike, one of our engineers. They do think the camera's frozen at this point.
Yeah, they're trying to heat her.
Okay.
There's a thawing mechanism. We'll see how long it takes.
Okay, yeah. So we have some of our frozen cameras. So Kannapolis is frozen. One of our Monroe cams is frozen. We're starting to see the same thing from our WCNC tower cam. The reason why this is important, folks, is that these cameras that we're seeing that are frozen are facing northward versus our southward facing cameras are not, which is just showing you the way that the moisture is moving. Kannapolis right now, Dallas, we're pretty much in the clouds there. We're not seeing a thing because that's all freezing drizzle. And then I'm going to go to our Monroe camera. So again, you can see how it's frozen over at this point. And really these cameras were the only way that Brad and I even knew that we were already seeing freezing rain. Because remember, you guys are our ground truth. The reports you've been sending in from MPing, the app that Brad told many of you to download, and from what we're seeing on pictures and videos that folks are sending in, that's pretty much the only way that we were able to ground truth confirm that this was going on. Precipitation types, again, you can see areas of sleet, snow mixing in north, but we are starting to see a much better grasp on some of that sleet and freezing rain mixing in, again, for area south. But notice the temperatures. At this point, folks, we have snow falling from the upper levels of the atmosphere. Okay, this time of year, pretty much everything falls to snow originally. And then we have a big warm nose, so a big warm layer in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, and that's what's melting all of that snow. But previously, we were talking about how we thought that it would refreeze into sleep first, right, and eventually transition to freezing rain overnight. Well, this happening so much earlier means that pretty much everything that's falling at this point is going to stay freezing rain. And so it's kind of a 1-2 punch of a question mark as to whether or not we'll see less accumulation because it's starting later, or we see less accumulation because it's just freezing drizzle at this point. But think about it. Freezing drizzle, tiny little water droplets, barely you can see. That freezes on contact with the ground versus freezing rain, which is a little bit heavier, you can actually see. So sometimes it can catch you off guard. And we know that a lot more moisture is coming in from the south and west, a lot more cold air still lingering there. And so as the atmosphere continues to moisten up, expect more sleet, more freezing rain tomorrow. Brad adjusted some of these numbers, again, to go inside with the fact that we're not expecting temps to get out of the upper 20s and lower 30s. So that's going to keep us cold all day long. I mean, this is going to be brutal. Even for areas that won't actively be watching rain fall from the sky, we are bitterly cold already, temps in the 20s. And again, a high temperature of 30 degrees is nothing to play around with. On the backside of the system, again, we also know it's going to be bitterly cold. And we'll be dealing with pretty gusty winds too. So ice is already starting to fall. I'll leave you with one quick look at the map. At this point, the map, not that it's not important, but it's less important because we know that the Charlotte metro area, I-85 corridor north, is expected still to see the worst accumulation. That's the reason why we have this ice storm warning in effect. Started tonight, goes until Monday, again, for dangerous roads and scattered power outages. Now, something we'll be watching again tomorrow, and Chris will be in with Becca in the morning, Majestic out in Storm Tracker. Brad and I will be back same time, same place tomorrow. But one of Brad and my biggest concerns, since we, of course, have been working together, for 5 years, but in this case of the storm, for the last few days, is that it's not just the ice, it's not just the cold, it's also what happens after. The gusty winds are going to be very, very noticeable. I'm actually going to pop out of here for a second because my pause point went away. Notice Monday afternoon, we're looking at wind gusts 25 to 30 miles an hour. That is going to prolong any power outages potentially that already happened. It could also increase the chance for a power outage in a spot that maybe hasn't. Mountain communities will be looking at about 45 at a maximum. And then we actually are still gusting into 20 to 25 on Tuesday afternoon. So that could be prolonged on top of the ice, on top of the cold. We could also be very, very gusty. That will eventually lead, you could probably guess what I was going to say, to futurecast wind chills. We're looking at bitterly cold, single-digit teen wind chills Tuesday morning, even actual air temperatures in the single digits, even right here in Charlotte, areas up toward the mountains, the foothills, 10 to 20 degrees below zero for what it feels like. And again, the actual air temp in Charlotte, while it'll feel closer to 4 degrees, the actual air temperature forecast is for 8 degrees. So it's going to be no joke. Cold air continues Wednesday and again on Thursday. So this is going to be a bitterly cold stretch. Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast. I mean, something that you're lacking in our 7-day is any high temperature above 40 degrees and any low temperature above 27. This is going to be a very, very cold stretch. So again, even things that we do see are going to struggle to melt. Now, I am cautiously optimistic on Monday afternoon that with sunshine, we will see some melting. But again, when you have an 8-degree low, that means a potential for a refreeze, not just Tuesday morning, but 16, 18, 13, 16. Those are the orders of the additional lows Wednesday through Saturday. So this could be a prolonged issue. Brad, of course, will have a few more updates for you over the next few hours. Then we'll head home again, let Chris and Becca take over, and then we'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. Best thing I can do right now, folks, is encourage you to continue to stay weather alert, stick with our team. I know sometimes weather coverage can be extensive, right? And kind of feel like we're throwing so many things at you at the same time, but it's all trying to keep you safe. So remember that. We'll get through it together. And our team will be here essentially around the clock, whether it's on air or on streaming on WCNC Plus, which you're watching right now, so you know where it is.
That's right. We just want to spread the word, too, because people who are just watching, as we've been watching other parts of the country, they're also watching now what happens to us as this storm is
my
here.
Parents,
It's
I mean,
right
my
here.
parents in Florida, my best friend's parents who are in Orlando, like they've been
Exactly.
watching because, you know, people are curious, especially people that maybe don't get storms like this. And even Brad the other day, Jane, I think you were there too, he was talking about even just in his experience, 23 years of covering winter storms in the Carolinas, he hadn't seen a storm like spread this far, Jane. I mean, Arizona, New Mexico, all the way to Maine. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it is hard to grasp. And then when you see that picture from space, and it really just covers the whole country. And then some others are saying, this is not really a big deal. Are we just being worrywarts?
I think that it's a good reminder that people who are from other parts of the country, nothing against Ohio people, but I have a lot of Ohio friends here, and the initial reaction was, well, I know how to handle it, I'm from XYZ, but you have to remember it's a different city, different people who are from or who live here might not have ever been through a storm like you might have, and it's just that's a different city landscape. I mean, it's nothing against Charlotte, because Charlotte's the best city
fantastic,
in the country,
right.
you know. But different cities have different infrastructure, and so you
Exactly.
can't expect like the same exact reaction from people who live here. And I'll remind you that if you ever think that it's crazy here in Charlotte when it's just raining, let's think about freezing that rain.
Yes, exactly. Great reminder. And it's worth, one holding on to, especially through tomorrow, for tomorrow. I mean, once I leave here, I'm going to stay put and just kind of hunker down through tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, Brittany Van Voorhees, thank you so much for coming into the Live Impact studio. Get some rest. We're going to need your energy tomorrow as well, because it's all happening. It's happening right now. All right, shall we take a break, or is Miles ready? Let's go ahead and take a 2-minute break. We're going to regroup. We're going to check in Union County after this. You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.